I'll come back. 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 I'll come back.
Yeah, I'm making sure that we're live.
So everything that we're saying now is live. Got it.
All right, I am seeing us live. There's an animation involving a teenage gamer failing miserably.
Animation.
Yeah, but does he say words?
And she's drinking milk.
Say words.
And then
good.
she does a Fortnite dance. I'm not even lying. That's what the commercial was. Okay.
Oh my god.
She drank milk and then did a Fortnite dance. I think it was a Got Milk commercial. Like, Jesus Christ. I guess.
Got Milk is from the Department of Dairy and Agriculture, so yeah, it's funny they're still doing those. That's great.
That's like a 90s thing.
It is.
It's coming back.
Yeah, didn't we catch wise that milk wasn't the end-all be-all solution to all of our bone problems?
We have a lot of other problems, but milk's pretty fly, yo.
I know. I'm listening and trying to think of how milk would have interpreted that just now, and it's like, god damn, that's funny.
I have a sledgehammer. I can fix anything.
Milk is also good for your teeth. For whatever it's worth.
Milk causes bone problems.
Bend over and we'll find a bone problem.
Pelvis bone problems.
All right, we are 2 minutes past start time, children. So, Priest, do you want to? We have some people in chat already. Do you want to count us in?
No, fuck them.
Oh, okay.
Hello and welcome to the Barcast, with the Barcast lower every single week. Your bartenders for this evening are non-pencil.
Ha!
Flam.
I'm not cooming, I promise.
Milk.
I'm currently taking substances of questionable legality.
Ravage.
Blurs.
And I'm bread. I don't know why. Milk won't tell me why.
You're Flutter Priest now.
Oh, okay. This week, we have a very special guest who's actually been on the Barcast before, and Milk is echoing really bad.
Milk, we're getting bad echo from you, kiddo.
So this week, we have back the wonderful Venates, and this time it's not even for writing. Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
How does it feel to not only be back on the cast, but for something completely different than the first time around?
I mean, a little surreal to be back. I mean, part of me is almost kind of sitting here like, you know, just how much has changed, because I still like tuned in like here and there over the years. It's almost always like I'm busy whatever Friday or Saturday night is going on though. But there's just been that part of me that's like, how much have they changed and evolved? Like I even went back on your YouTube channel and listened to my old interview from a while from like 5 years ago, and was just like, God, I feel like a different person.
I don't think evolved is the word I would use, but things have changed. With all that said, what hasn't changed is we got some rules. So first of all, please don't oh my god, I'm just gonna say the spiel. The Barcast is a community-oriented podcast where you politely invite on the guests. We ask them questions and make them miserable for 2 hours. You can catch up on previous episodes on places like Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, podcasts, and other places where you can digest podcast-related material. You can find other episodes up on YouTube, and we're streaming live on Twitch right now, which means that we're going to interact with the chat. The lovely Anon Pencil is watching the chat. Pencil, what sort of questions do we not ask our guests?
Well, our guest is pretty open to most questions, but we're not going to ask them things like, you know, what's your social security number? What's your place of business? What is your full name and mother's maiden name? Like, don't do that. Don't be dicks. We also don't accept any, you know, don't use stupid gamer language. You know, it'll get you banned at this point. Come on, kids. But we do have something special to do with the chat today, and that is a drinking word. Priest, how does a drinking word work?
That's correct. Whenever you hear something along the lines of animate, animation, anime, even if you're feeling frisky, please take a healthy, responsible drink. We don't want to send someone to the hospital again. But without further said and done, let's get into the actual interview portion of the show. And start off with some real basic sort of questions. In about 24 minutes from now, we're going to air a brand new to the fandom pony animation video that Venates has been working on for the better part of 10 years, which is why we've invited him on today. We're really excited to see it. I'm sure you're even more excited to show it off. So, without further ado, for those who may be tuning in for the first time, Ben, introduce yourself. Who are you, and what do you do in the fandom?
Hi. Okay. So I'm Venates. That's how I pronounce it. As far as the fandom goes, I have been kind of out for a couple of years. I've dabbled in different stuff though. I've dabbled in writing. You can find me on FibFic. I've dabbled in some drawings too. You can find those on DeviantArt. Um, and now, most recently, I've been dabbling in animation. Finally, 10 years ago when I started on this thing, I thought I was going to be, one of the next big creators on YouTube. Up there with like who was big at the time, Animated James and Two Snacks and all this and that sort of thing. And boy, did that not turn out.
Well, then let's get to our next question. So, how did you personally find yourself getting into the fandom?
So it's funny that I mentioned like listening to my old interview because like I'm just gonna be repeating some stuff from there for anybody who has that kind of memory. Um, I got into the fandom back in college. Uh, one of my best friends and former roommate, he got in really into it at one point. Like we had both like seen how it was getting popular online. We were both kind of meme lords at this point in life, and we are like, okay, like look at this pony thing that these guys are talking about. What's going on? And he was like stuck somewhere for his girlfriend's concert and was like all alone, nothing to do. So he just like binged the whole first season. And he comes back and he's just like, "It's amazing. You have to watch it." And I'm like, I'm still kind of hesitant. And I'm like, your enthusiasm is concerning, sir, about these cartoon horses. And he wound up organizing a watch party in my apartment with other people he knew had an interest in watching or were already watching themselves. And so we watched a couple of episodes, and like months later I finally admitted to myself, okay, I'm willing to watch more and see more. This is actually enjoyable.
that's that's absolutely wonderful. So then the next question is a little more it's a little more chat based because our 10-month subscriber Burgese asks, do you agree that football could be improved if a bear was released onto the field as a natural hazard?
um it's hard for me to think about football improvements when we have a guy who just about died on the field like the
Yeah,
other
I
day.
made a comment in the chat about it. I said that's a rough question considering recent events with
It's a rough
on-field life
question
threatening injuries.
considering. Now, if we were to
would you like a happy, pleasant update to make you feel better about that though?
Yeah.
He's breathing on his own and has had a FaceTime with his team.
Oh, good. That's good.
One to let you know.
Now, for this question, what I may propose instead, and especially in light of this tragic moment, what if we just replace all the players with bears and then just saw what happened?
I
Like,
would
I would
be
down
the
to
bears.
watch bear fights.
Bear football would
bear
sound good.
football.
Just bears. Just bears, football, bears.
Just bears. Make sure that you get a helmet on them, both for safety and because it'd be kind of adorable, and let them loose.
They
would
have
it
bear
have to be
hockey.
baby bears?
No. Just
No.
small types of bears like brown bears.
What about cocaine
genuinely,
bears?
there is bear hockey. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the next kind of standard question that we ask is what keeps you in the fandom? And I feel like that's going to be an interesting like kind of question to ask you in particular. What is there anything in the fandom that has particularly kept you here over the years?
Yeah, it is a good question. Like I said, I kind of dropped off the grid on it a couple of years ago, before coming back. And I mean, a lot of what drove me to come back was my own unfinished projects. I mean, apart from this animation, there's still writing stuff that part of me still wants to tackle as well. There is one or two that I published maybe about a year ago now, just because I'm bad about publishing things. But there's others that I still have in outline form or even like drafts, that it's like, maybe someday I would like to actually get this out there. Um, it was kind of always kept me with an ear to the stone though is like some of the animators that I mentioned. Like I'm still subscribed to people on YouTube who do different stuff with this and that sort of thing. And every so often I'll see something new that pops out into the community, and maybe there's a character I don't recognize or something like that, but I'm still like, hey, this is still enjoyable. Like people are still out here making stuff, and that, I mean, that's what I've always enjoyed about the fandom to begin with.
No, that's fair. That just pure creative force, and I get that, and actually kind of cool to hear that even after dropping away for a few years, there's still gas in the tank on this one. There's still stuff that you'd like to work on. I think that's really cool, and it's a testament to kind of the fandom in general.
Yeah, I mean, there could be an argument on whether that's the pull of the fandom or the franchise, or just my innate need to complete projects. The jury's a little bit out on that. But at the same time, there's plenty of projects that I've started and dropped over the years that I've never gone back to. So there is something kind of unique about this one right here.
Hmm. So then my next question is, what do you think of G5?
I have not tuned in actually. I've
Hey,
I've
that's
I've thought
absolutely
about
fair.
it. I still haven't even finished G4. I'm like a season and a half behind or something like that.
Mhm.
My fiance, who I introduced to the show, has watched all of it, like before I got to the end, and I'm like, that's a little strange.
Uh,
Um, but she
uh,
assures me that the ending is worth it. I've just like not made the time to sit down and do it.
that's that's funny actually.
it is funny.
And then last but not least, who is best pony?
I always wind up saying Octavia on this one.
You
I've
have a
just always
long-standing history too with
Ye
Octavia.
yeah, yeah, and I've just always enjoyed, like, her style and class. I don't know, just something about that. I don't know if there's, a certain character from my past or something like that, but, I mean, and I think I just occasionally see it reflected in other characters. Like Priest, you introduced me to Comey Can't Communicate, and I'm like, "She has the same hair as Octavia. I can get into this."
You are a simple creature.
God, I haven't heard an Octavia for that question in a long time. I'm getting
Oh,
like
man.
grizzled old veteran vibes. Like that's an
Oh, you mean
old
Pat?
favorite.
I tend to view myself as a little bit old school when it comes to this, not just from dropping out, but like even before I did, it's like a kind of a season like 1, 2, 3 stand where it's like this is where the good stuff is at. This is where my favorite stuff is. Not to say there was nothing good after that, but
Mhm.
there's a
God,
nostalgia with it.
right. Back from the times when we used to call Minuet Colgate.
Oh yeah,
No, it's from that era.
I
Man, good
still call
times.
her Colgate, honestly.
yeah.
I
It's
interchanged the two, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Same.
that's the era that was like what I consider to be the bread and butter. Like that's when I feel like you saw everybody at their most creative. Like they took these characters in these worlds and exploded it themselves. Like they're like let's explore these characters that have never even had a line. Let's explore these places that I've been mentioned but have never seen. And I think that's where later seasons started to burn me a little bit because I mean you could call it pandering or you could call it like wish fulfillment, but like the show has started to eventually address a lot of that stuff that fans had been kind of filling the gaps on, and I feel like that took away a little bit of the magic of it, a little bit of the mystery that people bit into to explore.
I suppose that is true in a way, but I do appreciate some of them having, voices.
Oh yeah. No, when episode 100 came out, like the background ponies or whatever, that was that was fun. I
Oh, yeah.
enjoyed that a lot.
So let's get now to the questions out in the thread. We'll do about 10 minutes of questions, and then we'll just kind of hype up for video time. We'll get excited.
Cool.
RK Striker JK5 is up first, who asks, you gotta pick one. What's your favorite non-MLP franchise?
Uh, so I'm definitely a guy who can get really into just about anything. If I had to pick absolutely one, I would probably pick the Legend of Zelda series. I've definitely got a lot of merchandise in and around the house related to that, and I don't know. It's just something that, like, ever since I was a kid up to present day has continued to bring me back again and again.
Fair enough. Have you done any fan content for a non-MLP franchise?
Again, like, pretty much just Zelda, and it's not anything you'd be able to find. I mean, I'm talking about, like, all the way back in elementary school. My brother and I would, like, write little stories in the Zelda universe or about Zelda characters. And that was probably about as far as any other franchise has ever gone. Like, MLP has been kind of unique in that regard for bringing that out in me.
Next set of questions is from Muggany from the chat. Would you rather eat a leaky ass or drink period blood? You have to choose one.
This is the chat we
Uh,
know and love.
Leaky ass or period blood? Good God, I might have to choose period blood.
I mean, at least you know it comes from a great source.
And I feel like there would be a small amount more nutritional value and a small degree less health risk.
Oh, huge amount of nutritional value. I mean, if you want all of your iron, you will get it. Congratulations.
You will get a little too much.
I mean, it depends on how much you can actually digest. Fun fact, the human stomach cannot digest human blood unless it does so in small quantities regularly to get used to it.
Probably for the
Yes.
best.
Human natural spring water. Classic.
Oh, there's this party going on at the Donners. I think we should go check it out.
Yeah,
The
that
next
went well for them.
the next set of questions is from this dude called Flutter Priest, and the first one is just a complete abomination of English, but I'll try to get through it. What suggestions would you have for someone who is trying to finish a project that has spanned not only multiple years of their life, but also whose values and opinions of creative works have grown and changed during the time that the project was worked on?
I would say with as with anything, it helps if you have a clear goal that carries you through it. More than that, though, I think you just have to kind of go easy on yourself. Through a lot of this project, I had days and nights where I would sit there and kind of be mad at myself for not putting more effort into the project or not completing it within such and such time window. Obviously, I had to get pretty forgiving on myself for that last part there. Um, but ultimately, you need to remember why you started it in the first place. You need to remember what it is about it that you enjoy, and make sure that you don't do anything to lose that.
I think that's really well said. The next question's way easier. What next?
What next? So right now, what has been occupying pretty much all of my time obsessively is I'm working on developing a video game based on a character I used to draw all the way back in the day, like starting in fifth grade. It's been kind of a dream since that fifth grader running around on the playground, and it's fun. I'm a programmer by trade, so it's not anything too outside of my wheelhouse, but it's just been fun to work on. Apart from that, there's still a part of me that has had the third entry in my Ponies Protecting Ponies storyline on the back burner. The outline of that is fairly robust, and I even started writing it at one point before I got like 2/3 of the way through, realized I hated the direction it was going, and then just decided to scrap it and start from square one. I want to see that franchise through. There's stuff that there's seeds that I planted from the very first one that I want to sprout and conclude in a third story. But I need to make sure that it's done justice, especially with how well the sequel was received.
Yeah. Next question is, what is the best Pokemon type?
Best Pokemon type. Um, Honestly, I think that varies generation to generation. It's interesting because Gen 1, I probably would have said Psychic easy, like that's hard to debate up before Dark type was really a factor. And then in what was it, 6 or 7, whichever one XY was, I actually got really into poison types, which surprised me because when I was a kid, it was like poison is garbage. All of these Pokemon are garbage. Um, but like if I had to stick with anything, it might even be ground type. I had a lot of fun with ground in Arceus, so that was fun too.
That's fair. Next question is Pony dead?
Honestly, that might be a better question for literally everybody else in this podcast right now. Like you guys here in on the cast, those guys there in the chat, like like for me it is kind of dead, like I remember back in the day I used to be going, to like Equestria daily hourly to see like what the latest post was. I was,
Yeah.
reading fan fiction. There was new animations, and like I said, there's been a like even though I'm still subscribed to all those channels, it's a slow drip of new content on that front. And I would hear blurbs when Gen 5 came out, but I haven't seen nearly the same fervor that Gen 4 ever had while it was live and active. I mean, I don't want to say completely dead because obviously we're all still here. We've got horse profiles going on all over the place. Um, but it kind of seems like a night guard in a sense.
I think that's fair. It's kind of whittled down to the true blue fans as opposed to the people that were like, oh, this is the passing trend.
Yeah, and sorry.
No, go for it, please.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say like one could even argue that it's less about Pony itself right now as it is the communities that spawn from it. Like the people that are still there interacting with the friends they made along the way, or if they're still writing stories.
Pony was the friends we made along the way.
Oh,
the
God.
horses were
Okay.
the friends we made along the way.
I can back that up if I need to, right? But no, what I mean is like, what is it that I mean?
I'm
I've
gonna
already
have to tell
finished
us.
one
Like you,
drink
can,
here
I
now.
don't. You are your own man. You're gonna have to figure out what you mean for yourself, I guess.
Yeah. So like, and again, you guys have a closer ear to the ground on this than I do. But it feels like the stuff that is still active is almost there. I almost want to say out of habit. Like they're entertaining each other rather and getting inspired by each other in these last flickers of light rather than from the show, which has obviously been off the air for a couple years now.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, it also comes down to like there's some really deep like Gen 5 believers too, but
yeah. I am still curious to look into it myself, but it just doesn't seem to have as strong of a foundation.
I would like to remind people that Pony, since the frickin' 80s, has been cyclical. It gets really popular for a minute, and then it's not popular anymore, and then it gets really popular for a minute, and then it's not popular anymore. It comes and it goes, and it's done that for longer than most of us have been alive. So I don't think Pony ever really properly dies. It just kind of goes under the surface for a while, from my experience.
I mean, you're like, speaking of other franchises, you're talking to a big Ninja Turtles fan, so I get that. I get that hard.
They are two sides of the same coin, like absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Well, with that being said, we got one more question from chat. I think now would be a good time to just double check and make sure that the video is good to go and ready for us to like click, and it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm double checking on it. I was trying to figure it out. So
make sure it's not set to private. Make sure it is not set to private.
Yeah, it is set to premiere. This
But-
is the first time I've ever done anything like that, though. So, like, I feel like the first time I did it, it let me choose the countdown timer, like how far I had to start a timer. And I
Yes.
don't see that option now, but it still says, scheduled for 6:30 local
But is the
time, which for me CST.
yes, but
Excuse
is
me.
the video set to public or private?
Premiere.
Yes, that
It's a different thing.
okay, but it okay. Mm.
Because I think at one point I might have like even accidentally published it once, trying to fiddle with the public-private stuff.
Mhm.
Um, maybe it'll help if I like send you personally a screenshot on it or something real quick.
Yeah, if you could. Well, Priest asks you one more special question.
Yes, the chat asks, what is your favorite non-canon content that you've enjoyed?
Non-canon content.
Pony fan stuff.
Pony fan stuff. Yeah. I think the most enjoyment I ever had with anything was with the fiction background pony. I know, Priest, you and I have
Ah.
had conversations on it before, but it was early on in my fan fiction exploration phase, and might have been why it had such a large impact on me, as well as I was at a pretty low point in life, and so was the character
Mhm.
in that story for anybody else who's also read it.
Mhm.
But it was something that left a resounding emotional impact on me that I didn't think fan fiction was really capable of. Like before I started exploring these stories myself, um, I always kind of viewed fan fiction as like, okay, that's just a bunch of awkward kids in their basements doing like slash fics and stuff, right? Or Mary Sue self inserts, whatever the case was. But it's like, no, there are talented people out here making good, genuine works of art that I cannot bring up in public debate on what good stories I've read lately.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, we are minutes away.
Minutes, yeah.
Are you? How are you feeling? Are you excited? Are you hyped? Are you nervous? Where are you at?
A little apprehensive almost. Like I'll say this right now. I don't want anybody to get like too overly hyped for this. I am not a professional animator by any means. This has been me amateurly going at it to the best of my ability over the years. This isn't going to be the next big thing. But I know Priest has seen it, and one thing that he said was like, this feels like if it had come out like early on, back in like 2012 when all the hype train was first gaining its big speed and the first animators were getting going, it might have been a big deal then. It might have been the foundation with which everything else eventually launched itself.
I hope
But
that
it's
doesn't make you
still
feel like what if. I really hope you don't feel that way.
no. I mean, like I said, I did it to the best of my ability. The best of my ability was 10 years. I know that. I own that. I've accepted that about myself.
Okay.
But it is still something that I'm proud of, if not for the product itself, just for the fact that I was able to finish it.
Hey, this is I mean, if I remember correctly, this is the project that Anime James thought would never get done.
Yeah, it is.
I think that was that our first BabsCon? Like you and
It
me?
was our first BabsCon. Yeah, I recognized him from all of those like Bronies React videos and stuff.
Mhm.
And I was just like, "Hey, like let me bend your ear a little bit on this thing that I'm doing." And he's just like, "You're crazy. Like a 6.5 minute video is your first animation. Like you need to start smaller, dude." And I can't say he was wrong, but I also didn't want to delay this project. I wanted to see it through after I started it.
I am seeing the video as live now.
All right.
I'm gonna post a link to the chat and we can all watch it together, guys. Milk, do you have the sound ready? Do you have the video ready? All
I'm
right.
disappointed I didn't see the countdown at all. Not sure what I did to disable that, but whatever.
It's okay. Yeah. Everybody watch.
don't think there's sound.
No? No sound?
I can hear it on stream, yeah.
I hear it on stream.
Okay. That's right, I have stream muted.
Well, wow.
There we have it.
Very nice.
Bruh.
That was definitely a lot of work. I can see the detail you put into it.
Yeah, I feel like you can also see where I started getting lazier in the final act of the video. But goddamn, yeah.
Chat, I would love to see some pogs for Ven. That was
Let's
that was
get
really
some
cool.
pogs
For
in
the chat.
those who are listening to this through iTunes or audio only, I hope you just imagined the most epic pony animation of all time, just like the absolute best. And I encourage you to go check it out on YouTube. It's called Lux Eternia.
And remember
Equestria.
to give it some
Equestria, my bad.
Yeah. Give it some love, leave some comments, upvote it, share it, do the whole works. If we
Post
can
it
ever
everywhere.
No. If we can use our Barcast nepotism for anything, it will be for this. Like, of all the things.
I know you guys were once able to get me into the feature box while I was talking during one of these on FinFic. So
Our power may not be
I
what
believe
it
in your
was.
power.
Our power may not be what it was.
No,
It's
I understand.
Look at what they do to mimic a fraction of our power.
Yeah. But it's funny that Priest was talking about, for the audio listeners, just like imagine this cool adventure animation. I'm like, that's how it was. Like that's how it started, Like I've had that song or a variation of it, Requiem for a Tower that was made for a Lord of the Rings trailer. Like I just had that like stuck in my head one night, and more or less what you saw what was running through my head that night. Like the whole thing, minus a couple of small filler details here and there, was there from the start. Like every time I listened to the song, I could see it in my head, and it was just a matter of finally getting it in a form that I could share it.
I would also like to deeply commend you on the determination and like skill that it has taken for you to avoid Requiem for a Dream all the way up till now, knowing that song was in there, and you're like, no, I gotta finish the animation.
Yeah, I know that's something that you've brought up virtually every time that the song choices come in. You were just like, do not watch that movie until you're done. Like it will ruin the song for you.
I mean, am I wrong? For those who have seen the movie,
I have no idea.
Muggany in the chat's just like, yeah, that's a really good movie.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the song can't be ruined.
Oh man.
Wow.
Well, that was really awesome. How does it feel to have it basically released, and what's going to be next? Like, are you going to send it to Equestria Daily or?
Probably. I mean, I know they're still active and everything. I have no idea how things go over there anymore. Part of me is like, surely you guys are starved for content at this point. Here's something to keep you afloat. Because I remember, like if you look at my channel, I first published the intro sequence of this video. Rough stuff early on, early draft, just like the first minute or so, just as a kind of teaser for what was to come eventually. And I submitted that to Equestria Daily, and they never published it.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was I don't remember the guy's name now, but there was some other animator who like had his first animation out there. It was some kind of shit post or another, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, this guy's the next big thing," and I was just like, "What? Why?"
I
But
think I even remember who that animator is, but I'm not going to say their name out of respect.
yeah. I mean, they continued on to do good stuff for the fandom. Like, don't get me wrong, but like in that moment, at that point in time, it ruffled my feathers a little.
By the way, do you have a Twitter, or are you not on the bird machine?
Sorry, say again?
Are you on Twitter, or are you not on the bird machine?
I am not on Twitter.
Good, that's fine. Just wanted to ask. I was trying to
no.
quote you somewhere, so don't worry about it.
I was looking at joining at one point, but like the name Venates was already taken by some middle-aged guy who had 3 tweets about AIDS, and I'm just like,
wow.
I don't need Twitter, I guess. If I can't have the handle I want, I don't need Twitter.
That's amazing. That's the greatest like anime redemption arc ever. Should I join this Cesspool, the internet. No, my name isn't on it. Who has it? Never mind.
Yeah.
Burn it all
and,
down.
and I see Alex in the chat. Yes, this is the same animation from Mugshots 5 years ago. I was listening to that interview recently too, just going back. Whatever happened to Mugshots? Is it a sad story? Can I ask?
People got lazy.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
How is Mugshots rap?
It's mostly the biggest problem with mugshots is scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, no, I completely understand how that goes.
Yeah, same.
Sadly, just as time goes on and people grow and develop, things come up, it's kind of awesome in a lot of ways that like Barcast has gone on. Oh my god, for so long. Is it 8 years? No way.
Has it actually
7.
been that long?
Milk, I need your help. Milk.
Milk.
How long? I remember I even sent you the other day. I can't believe that this picture is this many years old. How old is this thing?
Oh, fuck me. God, how old are we? Hold on. I actually have the handy dandy guest list I can pull up, and it goes back to the first year we started recording.
It goes all the way back to, was it Bolding our first guest that we began planning?
Maybe.
Because you guys had more stuff before on Good HIE.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, when I went back to that first interview with you guys, I think you're still calling yourselves Good HIE at that point, and I was just like, there's a throwback.
It was. Yeah. It was way back in like June, mid 2016, but then we were doing stuff like early 2016. Dare I say, maybe in 2015 when it was still like the Protocast where we were just playing games for 9 hours on stream. Yeah. But like,
Well, I'm trying to think because Priest, when was the first BabsCon that you and I went to? Was that 2014 or 2015?
We went 2014.
Because I think it was
correct.
It was the year following that you guys had gotten the podcast together and were doing panels and stuff.
2015. Yeah, so then that would be 8 years.
8 years ago this spring.
I can double check, but I believe we still have our original Magna Carta of when we went off on our own. Like our own our charter.
When we went off on our own, that was an event. It had to happen fast. We did it very well. We did it very effectively, and we had to name ourselves something, and that's why. And we were the Barcast because I wanted to pick something that was, translatable to something besides pony if we ever wanted that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now we're fighting with middle-aged bargoers who want to use the name as well.
Well, too fucking bad, bitches.
Oh, are you?
we got there first. Get wrecked.
Fantastic.
They say we're the furry degenerate underlings that live in the basement, but we have more followers.
I was like, them. I can only imagine like the reaction of like, oh, we just thought of the perfect name, and they go to register it, and like here's some ponies doing questionable things to one another.
Boom, furry podcast.
We've had 3 different groups get upset at us for having Barcast as our name.
Have you ever gotten a monetary offer for the name?
No, just people being angry.
That would be really cool if we did, because I would totally take it if it was over like $1,000.
We have dibs. I have checked. We are the first group to use it and still be using it. So it is
chronologically.
Ours. It is ours. The name Barcast is actually ours.
Someone actually threatened, like with Twitter Blue being a thing, like what if they went and got the check mark for the Barcast first?
It means nothing. I mean so fucking hard at them.
Oh yeah, no. When they're like, I remember when
I spent an entire day getting random fucking gifs of just things that were like, this motherfucker bought Twitter Blue, and it's like a whole group of people laughing at him. And I just every time they would respond, I would post another one.
Mm-hmm. What gets me is that when the actual like political bargo or middle-aged guys were like, yeah, we're the Barcast now, and then they got this deluge of furry and My Little Pony people just posting stuff at them, and every single post said something to the effect of uwu. And like,
it was
and I'm talking, there were like 30 posts.
They got ratioed.
They got ratioed with uwu, and I think that's probably I mean, that's Ven. You have to understand. Like, we do not have great power, but we've dug our heels in pretty hard. So while we may not be able to like make you the next millionaire with your video, I think we can at least get the word out there, can't we, chat? Like, if you haven't given an upvote to the YouTube video or like shared it on the Twitter machine or on FimFic, we would love it if you did. Genuinely.
Whatever
Post on
power
FimFic.
level you want to put yourselves at,
Yeah.
I love the lovable degenerates that follow you guys and will just have so much fun with all the content that you put out there and show up every week to have fun. Like it's heartwarming.
I genuinely agree.
I did a minute amount of research back when all that Twitter crap was happening. And I was like, what does it take to just get like the legit one? And apparently the only thing that we don't have in order to get a legitimate like Twitter like check mark is a Wikipedia page about us. That's it. That's all we need.
How hard would that be?
Not that hard. But someone has to like become someone has to get like vetted and added as like a legitimate member to the point that they have the ability to create pages on Wikipedia.
Well, yes and no, Priest. That's not entirely the thing. Someone else could do it. The problem is, and I briefly had a Wikipedia page about me. It will get taken down if they can't if the person cannot prove cultural significance. So unless we are culturally significant enough, it will not remain up. It'll be taken down.
Got it. One of us will just masturbate in public, and then we'll be culturally significant.
Can we have all the listeners send Ulus to Wikipedia?
Yeah, as soon as you're able to add a controversies section to your Wikipedia page.
Yeah, then we're culturally significant, I'd say.
Early life controversy 1, second controversy, alcoholism, death.
We do have an incident of a viewer going to the hospital with alcohol poisoning. That's probably the most we got.
Okay. It sounded like Priest said something about that earlier, and I wasn't sure if that was a joke or not. I immediately wanted questions, but then I guess it was my interview and I had to be asked questions. Can I ask about that?
We don't know all the details.
Okay.
The long story short is a member of chat said, "I'm so excited for cast tonight," and I showed like a picture of the bottle that they bought to do the drinking game.
Yeah.
And then they didn't respond for about 2 weeks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and when we eventually heard back from them, like they were fine, but apparently they just downed the thing way too fast, not knowing their limits. And a friend found them, and they called the ambulance. They probably would have been okay, they said, but their friend was like, "Fucking what? No hospital." So
that is terrifying. So after that, all the spiel, all the warnings and stuff you gave ahead of time. It's like don't use these words, don't talk about this and this and this. You never thought to add drink responsibly?
Did you not hear us? Part of it is take nice, healthy sips. We don't want anyone going to the hospital again. We say it every week, every single week.
That's fair. You did say that. I said that you said that, and then I said what I said, and I'm a drink and a half in. Who knows
fair
what's
enough.
going on anymore?
Almost every rule that we have now is from us stepping in shit and going, "Oh no, we can't do that again."
That's fair. Like the rundown that I got ahead of time was just like, this has gotten robust over the last 5 years.
Robust. I like that. That's a nice word for it.
We're a deep, rich wine that's probably gone off.
Definitely gone off.
Speaking of going off,
wine is so aged it's turned into vinegar.
We are the best balsamic, though, bitches. Okay.
We are the best balsamic.
Welcome to Balsamic Cast.
But Ven, can we ask you some more questions?
Yeah, we were delaying some that I am afraid of, but yeah, go ahead.
Excellent, good.
Now we have site-renowned porn author Breathtaking Carnality up first, who starts with number 1. Hi.
Hi.
Number 2. How your day?
Not bad. I didn't get enough sleep last night, but what's new? Tired is my default state. But just happy to be here. I am content.
Yay. Up next is Bandy. Very hyped for this interview. Huge congratulations to Venates for sticking with it and bringing your vision to life.
Thank you.
Number 1. What are some things you've learned over the course of making the project?
How to animate, how not to animate. um, something that I said before was like how to be forgiving of yourself with a project, how to find motivation when motivation is lacking, and at the same time, like figuring out what matters to yourself and who you do things for. If I can get just a little more serious about that.
Yeah.
Aw. Gross. Number 2. What was the driving force behind keeping you on track after such a long span of time?
So as I mentioned before, there's been a lot of different things that I've started and stopped over the years. I've always had a creative spirit, but not often a finishing spirit. And for one reason or another, this was just something that I wouldn't allow myself to give up on. Maybe it was the strength of the visions that I mentioned earlier anytime I heard the song. Maybe it was just the love for the fandom and wanting to contribute to it. And a lot of it, like I said, it kind of just ultimately came down to me and also kind of wanting to do something for myself. So I mean, this project, it's been done, it's been complete and sitting on YouTube for the last 2 months. And I apologize to anybody who's been impatient over the last 10 years, and that 2 months was just the last straw.
Then, let's be honest. People just straight up didn't get mad. They just gave up.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. But what tangent was it on? I lost track.
We're just there like, God, no, we've done it too. We were
driving force. Yeah,
yeah.
Just wanting to be able to say that I did this. Like I've already like mentally moved on. Like I think honestly, at this point in time, whether or not it ever actually did see the light of public day was kind of moot. Not that I don't want it to, go out there and do well and find an audience or anything, but it was just satisfying just to have that done. And I feel like it's not often somebody can create something and stick with it and reach that level of satisfaction. And that satisfaction, I just needed to know what that was going to taste like someday.
I think that's totally reasonable. Yeah, what does it taste like?
Satisfaction and relief.
Oh man, I need that. It's time to fucking go on Office Love. Here we go.
It's a sweetness, but not the kind of sweetness that like burns into your tooth. It's like this is what life is for.
So rather than other sweetnesses, it's more like whoa, that kind of sweetness.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I got it, pencil.
Thank
love you. That's the best. All right. Number 3 by Bandy. Have you checked under your bed?
I think maybe last week when I wondered if my cat was under there.
In your closet?
To see if my cat was in there.
Behind the door.
My cat is actually probably behind my office door right now.
Check it.
She is loud and annoying this time of night. She needs attention, and I can't sit here for 2 hours with her constantly screaming for food and outside.
Fair enough. The Glim Master is up next. Flam, would you like to take these?
Sure, I'll take them. So, Glim Master says, number 1, B for Venates.
Yes.
Here's your answer. 2, how do you make the worst pony become the best pony? See, this is always my favorite question. It really digs into the character of a person.
Yeah, I feel like it starts with who you consider to be the worst pony.
Philosophical in and of itself.
Right. And then you need to like sit hard and think, okay, for this worst pony, why are they the worst pony? What makes them the worst pony? What drives them? What motivates them? And how can I take that, put it on its head and find something interesting to explore with that.
Right. Makes sense to me, but are you thinking of someone while you think of that?
Honestly, no. The closest that I can think of is there was a story I wrote some years ago, because of course there was. Was it the Quest for the Missing Smiles? I think, starring Pinkie Pie, who I'm not going to say is the worst pony. I'm not gonna like put myself on that hill.
Someone
But
already
I can
did
say,
recently,
yeah,
if
but
I
I can
remember
say that she
correctly.
was not my favorite of the main six. So I found that interesting on a personal level, that I would go through and make a story starring her specifically. And that was what I tried to do with that, was figure out, okay, like what is Pinkie Pie? What makes her think the way she thinks, and how can I explore that in an interesting way?
Makes sense to me. So you don't really have a specific example. Yours is more philosophical in that respect.
More philosophical. It's hard for me to come up with somebody that I'm like, this is worst pony. Like there's nobody that where like they come on screen and I'm just like fuck this character. I don't want to see them. Why do they keep writing him in the stories? You could almost say for me Diamond Tiara, but they eventually gave her a little redemption bit, and it's like, okay, maybe there's more to you. That was interesting and has been explored.
Oh, you're not even a little bit upset by Fluttershy's brother?
I am a little bit upset by Fluttershy's
there it
brother.
is.
I'm not a fan. I'm also the main thing I remember about that character is just like, why are you getting introduced now? Like this is, I don't know. It was weird seeing Fluttershy family anyway. Like, I mean, obviously she has to like have a family. They don't have to all be living, but she has to have a family. But it's like, I don't know. I mean,
So you're
they at
saying we
least
kill the brother. Got it. That's how you make the worst
they
pony
at
best
least
pony,
wrote
because he's
him.
dead.
They at least wrote him in a way where it's like, oh, this is why Fluttershy has never mentioned you or had you over for a visit or anything. It's because you're a piece of shit.
That's a great point. I've never we never heard of this guy, because that's why. Because that's
my
why.
favorite theory as to why they brought him in then was because one of the writers or animators knows someone personally like that who just got on their last nerve and decided to be like, you know what, fuck you.
I'm pretty sure it's just all of the fans. I'm pretty sure it's just all
Complete with that nasty ass man bun. Ugh.
Or they went to their first PonyCon, right? And then they were
Yeah.
just like, you know what, this has to happen.
No, that was Patton Oswalt's character.
Oh, that's fair too.
I just think
there's a variety of us.
Yeah, but I feel like that. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Please.
Oh, I was gonna say, I like, my memory is hazy, but I feel like that was a season where they were just starting to introduce a lot of family members for a lot of the characters. It's just like let's explore more backgrounds, more histories, more, oh, where did this person come from? What makes them who they are? Sort of situations.
Yeah.
Right. Makes sense.
And I think there's just something so relatable about like a character that's just like, wow, I'm so sick and fucking tired of my family in this place that I live that I'm just gonna get the hell out of here. Very far away.
Priest.
Yes.
Not all of us live where you live in the awful armpit of the world, okay?
It's relatable.
Some of us do.
That's true too. For those who don't know, and I'm not going to say where, but Ven and Priest are IRL friends. Like, they are actually in the same physical vicinity, and they've been besties since way before I've known him.
There's a lot to say that Ven encouraged me along the way to get to where I am now. He's blame him.
Yay.
Ven had to inform you that I was flirting with you.
It's true. You kissed me on the lips, and I was like, oh, she wants to be a great friend.
Well, I mean, Californians, you never quite know.
Ain't that the freaking truth?
No, that's a joke for somebody not from the West Coast.
Yeah.
I'm from the West Coast, Stan.
Like, I don't know. I watched Die Hard, during the Christmas season, as one does, and every time he's just like, California, man. Like, anytime somebody is super friendly with them, it's just like, funny.
Oh man.
Which is an excellent segue to a much more much more benign question of if you had to choose a language to learn, what would it be? And I guess we can
Um,
maybe include programming in here as well.
California doesn't count.
yeah.
It fucking should.
Programming, I'm mostly comfortable. If you with programming, you eventually just have to learn like the grammar for programming, not necessarily the language itself. If you can figure out how code itself works, you can pick up any coding language with enough time. If I had to learn one language, this is gonna get sad for a moment. Is it okay if it's a bummer?
Yes, get sad.
Okay, get sad.
We're having tearjerker moment.
The main thing or the main language that I've always thought about learning is Italian.
Mhm.
I had there was a foreign exchange student back in high school that I became really close friends to, and even after he moved back to Italy, like he would come back like over summers and stuff and visit and everything. Um, he he passed away from a heart attack when I was in college, and I always thought about going over there, seeing his family. His mom still emails me sometimes. Their English isn't so good, but if I could learn Italian and just kind of talk with them a little bit, hear some old stories, maybe see where they have any sort of memorial for him, I'd like to do that.
Absolutely.
It's really
No,
touching.
100%.
Plus, I think Italy itself would be a cool place to visit. I know that there's a lot to see
cool.
there.
It's pretty cool. I recommend. Been twice. Recommend it.
Nice.
8 out of 10. Would recommend.
But depends on where you go, though. I will say that. But I mean, that's every
Cool.
country.
Yeah, that's everywhere. Absolutely.
That's every single country.
So they were out of Milan, I think. I don't know how familiar you might be with that area. Or...
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Okay, cool.
Milan is gorgeous, but also very peoply, and the people are very people. So
my dad went to Italy when he was a teenager with the family, and his best story that came out of there was right when they were about to disembark from the boat, some Italian dude grabs my grandma's ass, and then my dad gives him the middle finger and threatens to punch him out. That was great. That was the best. That was the best Italy story ever. I'm like, that sounds like Italy.
I got drunk my first time in Italy, and it was an accident. So
On wine?
No.
Oh no.
Damn.
It was mango liqueur on the table.
That
at
sounds
the end of
delicious.
Dinner. They just put out 3 different fruit liqueurs. And
so you just got 'em.
I didn't have much, and neither did my parents. And then we were all drunk.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Walking through Venice. It was great. At like 10 in the evening. It was weird. We didn't fall into the canal. I'm very grateful to my parents for that.
Truly the best of the Babadaboopies.
I was also like 13, 14. So there you go.
Lol, Lamau.
Well, I mean, no drinking age in Italy. So anyway, go on.
Damn. All right. Moving on to 4. What superpower would you like to have?
God, question for the ages, right? If I had to like quickly narrow it down, I would probably say like shape shifting or something to that effect. So like the video game that I'm working on, like the character that it's based on is a superhero with shape shifting powers. So I used to, draw all kinds of comics with that ability in mind. And I feel like it's versatile, because depending on like the breadth and depth of it, you could recover other superpowers with it, like flight. You just turn into a bird or something, and now you're flying. Like breathing underwater, like shapeshift into a fish. It doesn't even have to be animals. Like right now I'm a steamroller and I am making my neighbor unhappy. Just whatever you want to do.
Ben, this is fundamentally the correct answer, and I get so shocked that other people don't realize it.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself. So then moving on then, during your life, did you sit down on your chair and ask yourself, why do I like this colorful equines?
God, so often.
Yeah,
like I said before, it took me a couple of months after seeing some episodes to acknowledge that I wanted to watch more. And even then, especially kind of being around a relatively quiet and conservative sort of area, it's like this isn't something that you really like advertise and seek other people with the same interest, sort of thing. Like Priest and I just kind of happen across each other with this interest.
We met each other
Um,
through Smash, not through horses.
They smashed.
Yeah.
Got it.
Wow.
But there was also just this frequent, like, kind of almost philosophical looking into it, where I'm just like, okay, like, what is it about this that's appealing? Like, if somebody who doesn't get it were to ask, how would I best explain it? And just kind of ruminating on that a little bit. And I remember even coming across like a video on YouTube was just like, why do people find these ponies sexy? And I'm just like, okay, there sounds like a conversation that I've not heard anybody explain. They just usually just, make a private Discord channel and just start posting a bunch of shit, as you guys know.
Nah, know nothing about that.
And like I won't go into those details necessarily, but yes, it has been a frequent thought. Didn't ask what the answer is, so moving on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there sometimes is an answer, there sometimes isn't. Sometimes it's.
Oh, there's an
yes.
answer.
Sometimes the
That
answer is
question
yes.
just wasn't asked. The question was like, have I thought about it? And that answer is yes.
Well, it says, why do I like this colorful equines?
Have I ever asked myself, why do I like this colorful
True.
equines?
Oh, that
I have
part,
asked
yeah.
myself that.
Oh, you
Yes, the
fucker.
answer
You're
is
right.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Read the question, Flam.
I'm reading the question here. Oh, I love this reference. An Asian cop stands up on a bed and proclaims something related to a state of the United States. What is today?
See, I don't know what this is in reference to. So I'm just like, Thursday?
Oh, you're very close. It's
Oh,
like- it's
I
like
saw
5
that, but I
seconds.
couldn't listen to it and listen to you guys at the same time.
Wait, go ahead.
I can't believe this is a thing.
I'm more excited by the fact that I knew what it was this time.
Congratulations, Milk, on knowing what it is this time.
Okay, I've watched it through twice and I still don't understand, but I feel like that's the point.
It's Friday in California.
This is an objective
You are
fact.
correct. You are technically correct. The best kind of correct.
All right, and that'll do it for Glim's questions.
All
Milk,
right.
it's your questions.
Yes, it is Milk's questions. Would you like that?
No, fuck off. You ask my questions.
Number one is Ven, you're gay.
For you.
Whoa.
Don't tempt me. I'll come down there.
Number two, what is your most memorable experience at a con?
So I know the last time I was on, I talked about my drunk hotel adventure, and
Yes.
I listened to that story, so that's fresh in mind. But I'm wondering if I should retell that or if I should come up with another
I'm fine
story.
with both, but I'd also like to stare at the time for a moment and remember that we have to advertise our charity.
That's
Oh, yeah,
true.
go
They
for it.
literally sent me mail today. The charity literally sent me mail today.
Yeah.
No, and it's not because Little Bit died.
No, Little Bit's alive.
I almost got excited because we get to do another vote.
We get to do a selection.
I was excited
Little
for
Bit's
selection.
alive. Oh my god, you fuckers. Okay, real quick, while Ven decides which story he wants to tell, if not both.
Yes.
Hey Priest, what's our charity?
Red Wings Horse Sanctuary.
And how do people donate to Red Wings Horse Sanctuary through us?
Through the Patreon or by donating bits, gems on Twitch.
Yes. Burgess has donated 100 bits today. They've done a great job, and we'd love to get some more. Thank you so much. At the end, we will read out. Don't forget, Priest. At the end, we will read out who donated the most.
Yes, it's thanks to wonderful people like Burgess that we look like a semi-competent organization and actually help out things in the
Aeroplane. Sorry,
real world.
there was an
Yeah, the plane literally just flew at like fucking like roof level. Like holy shit.
UAV online.
Literally.
Anyway, hey Priest, what does our money at the charity do?
It funds the hoofy trims, feed, and other care for a horse named Little Bit.
Good. Those are all good things. And so we'll keep the ad roll short this time and say, hey, thanks for all of your donations in the past. We hope to continue to do that in the future. Back to you, Priest. Alex, post the links in the chat. Oh my fucking god. Wait, what? 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 Oh yeah, what was the mail? What was the mail? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, 3 other horses died.
Priest!
Are you kidding me?
No, it was a newsletter, but they had like half a
Obituary.
page dedicated to 3 horses that died. But they
Jesus
adopted like 6
Christ.
more, so like it
My
kinda
God,
has-
I'm sitting here and I'm just like, I remember like when I was first on, you guys were also talking about your horse charities and how the money went to taking care of them. And in my head, I'm just thinking, God, that's nice that they're still doing that and that they're taking care of these horses. And then Priest comes in, 3 of them died.
our first horse died.
Yeah, our first
Oh,
horse did pass
no!
away. Big
Well,
Mac.
he was old.
He was
an
very
old boy.
old.
Okay.
He had lots of horse hookers and blow before he passed.
Oh, well, that's good. That's how we should all go.
Came and
Hookers-
A
went.
lot of the
Horse hookers
horses
and blood,
there
yes.
have been helping with like education and been in seminars, helping take care of people with disabilities, give them experiences. So like it's Red Wings Horse Sanctuary does a lot of really good work and has some of their horses up for adoption. So Mid California, you want a horse and can take care of one.
So
Look
on
at
the
our
topic
horse.
of horse hookers and blow, I've got my story ready.
Ooh.
Awesome.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
So I'm not going to repeat the hotel drunk story. I know it's a favorite, but if anybody's curious about that, I think you can just like go back and find my interview from last time where my memory of it is much stronger and well told. So what I will say of what I remember from the first con, or my first strong con memory maybe. So bear in mind this was back in 2014 as Priest and I established. Our first BabsCon, where we first meet Pencil and everything, and start to get familiar with all this stuff. And the con day, it was fun itself. I think we dropped into a couple of panels where there's maybe people talking about the show, or maybe talking about projects they were working on. Self promoting something that they did. Like music or radio, whatever. There was like the art area, which like it on its own kind of like blew me away a little bit because I'd never been to any sort of convention before. So just seeing like all of that merchandise in one spot was kind of crazy. But that was just the daytime stuff. At night, after dark, there were all the parties that would go on in the rooms upstairs, and I don't remember if it was the first party that we stopped in or just the one that sticks out the most in memory. But I just remember walking in this door, which is full of people. They have a TV rigged up, going through like the lewdest of posts on 4chan, just like auto scrolling through it. So there's just you know Pony Puss and Dick right up there as soon as the door opens.
Always.
Then like over to the left, there was a guy who just kept like he would tie up his girlfriend, lift her up off the floor a little bit, they'd kiss, he'd put her back down, tie her a different way. And then over to the right of that were like 2 people fighting with giant horse dildos. And it's like, okay, it's that kind of party.
I fought with those horse dildos. It was great.
Yeah. And then they brought in a stripper. And it's just like, like all those moments that I had where I was, debating with myself, struggling with myself to acknowledge, okay, like I'm enjoying this show. I'm like, people like are put off by this because they think that the bronies are all a bunch of sexual degenerates. And I'm just like, shit, they might be right.
Wasn't that the one you kissed me at, Pencil?
Yeah.
Or was that a different party? Yeah.
That was horse
Yeah.
news.
So,
Yeah, but I think I was just taken aback because I had never in my life, I again like small time quiet conservative community, never in my life have I seen just sexuality on display such as
Whereas
that.
I'm a Californian, and I was like, yeah, it's normal.
Yeah. So you were like almost a little bit put off when I made that joke, but like there's something to it.
We were repressed.
Yeah, it's not that we're friendly. It's just that we're less repressed in some areas. Flame will vouch in some areas.
Mhm.
Then Flam doesn't vouch. Good.
Not that I want to make like anybody else out there a little too excited to go to their first con someday.
You should go.
Yeah,
You should
no,
go.
cons are a good time. You don't need wild sex parties in order to enjoy it.
That's very true. And this wasn't a
What I-
wild sex party. It was just craziness.
Yeah, I know. I exaggerated
just to
for
clarify.
effect.
Just to
Just
clarify,
get a
I'm
bunch
not
of
trying to
excited
say
people
that.
with alcohol.
Not trying to say I
it-
met you and Priest at a fucking sex party.
Yeah, it was not an orgy. Like the people outside the stripper, nobody was naked.
No,
Exactly
the
that.
spanking happened later.
Yeah, it's a separate room, separate memory.
Still not an orgy.
Still not an orgy.
Number 3, how many bananas do you think you can eat? I bet it's like 5 or 6.
That's probably about right. Like I'm not big on bananas. Like there was a while I would eat one kind of as my breakfast each day, but like I don't enjoy bananas. I don't hate them, but I don't enjoy them. So there would definitely be a limit before I'm like, that's enough bananas. 5 or 6 sounds like it.
So you're a bitch that doesn't like bananas. Sorry, just
Should I
watched
know that?
recently. Yes, it's a Sky Joe friendship. I'll share it with you later.
Okay.
All right. What's been the hardest part about working on animation?
Trying to be good at it. So I have absolutely no formal training in animation. I'm completely self-taught. Well, okay. So all the way back in high school, so like 2005, 2006 or something like that. In one of my computer courses, we had like I don't know, a couple weeks to a month where we worked in Macromedia Flash 2004, where I learned the basics of how that specific program works. And I guess that gave me a little bit of a foothold. But otherwise, I had to do like a ton of research and be like, how does all of this happen? And I mean, I to my credit, and for what everybody else who has seen that animation wants to think, like I've picked up some stuff and I've developed some skills and everything. But every so often, like while I'm circling around YouTube, I'll find projects from people who actually went to animation school, and it's like just something they did for a class, or maybe it's like their senior thesis or whatever. And it's like, okay, here's talent. Here's people that know what they're doing, and sometimes the hard part is like acknowledging your own limits and being like, I can't make this look like Disney, but I know how good I can make it. Again, without that kind of formal training or anything. And it does make me wonder for somebody who did go to school for it, what they would think the hardest part is. But for me, I think just making something look natural. Because you can, when you're going frame by frame, something can look good, and then as soon as it's going full speed, it's like, oh shit, that looks jank as fuck. And figuring out if something doesn't look right, figuring out what it is that makes it not look right. Like that's hard. I brought up in the previous one. I'll bring it up, or not the previous one. I brought it up in the mugshots. I think there are 12 principles of animation, and I'll post that in the Twitch chat for anybody who's curious. Where like everything that I did, I had to try to think of those principles, understand those principles, and see if I could use it to make something more realistic or more engaging, more interesting.
That'd
And
be great. That'd
it's
be
it's
great.
hard.
All right. Next question is: any tips and tricks of the trade for animating?
Like I said, study those principles. Anybody who goes to animation school probably has that drilled into them way harder than I ever drilled it into myself.
Law of drilling
Um,
hard.
drilling hard, always drilling. Um, I will say you utilize layers if you're working in any sort of digital animation. Utilize your layers and utilize puppets. Um, that may not make a lot of sense to people who aren't in the know, but basically it's a way of controlling everything and making sure it's easy to do. Like when I talk about layers, that helps you animate individual parts of a larger whole. So like when I animate the eyeballs on one of the ponies, not only is it going around in the socket, but like the pupil itself, I'll have rolling around with it to help give it more of a 3D shape. It's subtle, but it's in there. And when I say puppets, I mean like the pony itself would be one very massive puppet. When I first started this, if I wanted to move the puppet or if I wanted to move the pony, I was moving everything individually. Like the head was moving and then the body was moving and the tail was moving. Like all of that was separate. It's far easier if you do that all at once and then continue to drill down into that into smaller puppets within the larger puppet and continue that way. Again, that's me talking from self-taught. Anybody in school, this is like a real no-duh situation and probably have far better things to say. But if you're just looking to get some kind of animating program and experiment, that's the best, very starting advice that I can give.
Well said. I'm going to go through the next three a little bit quick, so you can put as much detail in them as you'd like, but I don't think they're the type of questions for deep, thoughtful introspection. How many ducks do you think you could fight all at one time?
I'll go with 3. 2 hands and a leg. I need the other leg to stand.
That's fair.
Fair enough.
If we were robbing a bank together, the whole BabsCon crew, mind you, which important role in the robbery would you be?
The honeypot.
I know the term, but this is in we're doing a bank robbery heist. Who do you
I'm distracting the tellers, security guards, and potential additional police with my sexual prowess.
Damn.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Now that you had time to think about it, if Milk told you coughing was his fetish, would you cough more?
I'll be honest, I have not been thinking about it during all of that time.
Just a little bit.
It depends on Milk's reaction. If he's just sitting there like getting uncomfortable, I might do it more just to tease. If he's starting to get ideas, I might pull back just a little bit.
What if I already have ideas?
I am taken and must politely decline.
She can watch.
I mean, she could join too.
Yeah, Milk's bi like me, baby.
She has said that she doesn't like the idea of sharing, so you'd have to be pretty convincing.
Then you could both share her. I'm a bad person. I'll stop. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to suggest we move on.
Yeah,
she's in the other room.
Yep, we're going to move on.
That's a terrible thing to say. Rav's questions are up next. Rav, please dig us out of this hole.
Rav's questions scare me.
Good. That's my fetish.
Jesus!
It's never ending. All right, Rav, go for it.
All right. Question 1. What's a question you wish people would ask you?
I admit I don't think I saw this one before. I just immediately saw like some of the bad ones. Question that I wish more people would ask me. I don't know. I've never really considered myself as a guy with all the answers. So that one's kind of hard to say. If people had to ask me anything, it might just be like, I don't know. Maybe like do you have advice on like coming to peace, to terms? Like do you have any advice, or like I'm going through this sort of thing? I like being an ear for people who might be going through something. And I know not everybody always needs an answer. They don't always need a fix to whatever they might be going through. Sometimes they just need it to listen. But I think where I like to try to help is something where it's like, this is something that's sticking in my brain, and maybe it's like, okay, is there a different way that we can frame this? Is there a different way we can approach this? A different way to think about it that can help you find peace? If you can ask a question that would lead itself to that sort of thing, that's the kind of question I'd like to be asked.
That's fair. If you were the protag of a displaced fic, what would it be about, and who would you be unlucky enough to be?
So like displaced anywhere or like MLP specifically?
Into MLP, but you are someone you do not want to be.
But I am someone I do not want to be. Okay, I'm gonna to spin it just a little bit. I would hate to be displaced into one of Pencil's stories as Spike.
That's a terrible idea.
Ooh.
That is terrible.
That's a pretty good answer, actually.
That would not be my preference.
You would die. You would
Yes.
die. You die or get violated, and you would die.
Hence my lack of preference.
All right. Oh, if your significant other could be any size at all, such as a Lady Demi Dami Mommy or a Deathclaw Kaiju, what would your dynamic look like?
God, I don't know, cause like I know that there are some people that are just want to climb that mountain, and there are other people that just want to have a Tinkerbell in their pants, and like I get it, I do.
I'm still processing somebody putting Tinkerbell in their pants. Please continue.
I mean, I think it'd be fun, but at the same time, like it's so when I find myself like attracted to somebody, and I get to the point where it turns into like a genuine love, it's hard for me to imagine them as something separate than what they are. Like I get thrown off if a significant other even dyes their hair because I'm just like, but I liked your hair the way it was. So it's hard for me to imagine her or myself at any different kind of size or dynamic.
Hmm. I mean, that's fair.
I know that's boring.
Oh, no, it's perfectly fair, actually. Have you ever released a foot fetish video, and where can your fans find it?
I have not, so good luck finding it.
Well, you better get started on animating it then.
Do you know how hard feet are to animate? The only reason
yes,
I
I
can
do.
animate ponies is they don't have any freaking phalanges.
Yeah, they do. They got 4 of them.
It's hard enough to get the legs right, you know? It's like they're just noodles, but if the noodles don't bend right, it's weird.
All right. Fucking phalanges. All right. Number 5. Do you read or write snuffles, i.e., snuff for cute ponies?
I've definitely never written anything. I've come across like a story or two that was just like, okay, like this looks interesting. What is this? And like it had some of that stuff in there. I personally don't seek it out.
Hmm.
I'll be honest, some of that is due to my lack of acknowledgement of my own degeneracy. There's almost a part of me that's afraid of how deep a rabbit hole I could go, which is not a snuffle that I've looked up. But yeah, it's not something that has had a large presence in my life.
I mean, that's fair. That kind of thing is hard to get used to. All right. Number 6, and you might actually like this one. Favorite MILF?
Is this MILF in anything or MLP?
In the series,
I mean,
right?
either or.
or real life or okay. It might just be because I've been influenced by modern media, but Ant Cast is kind of fun. From Big Hero 6.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame you for that one.
I don't think I can be blamed.
No, she's definitely got a sub following, and I found it. All right. Number 7, favorite princess from MLP.
Probably Luna.
Good choice.
I like her design. I like her coloring. I like her style.
Fair. Speaking of style and what you like, favorite object ponies such as pizza pone, soda pone, snake pone, thing pone, and so on.
You are familiar with these. I know you are. We've had discussions.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are definitely far more familiar with these than I am, and it's hard for me to think or decide without some sort of visual aid. Based on just this list, I would go with probably Snake Pone.
I mean, that's a fair choice. If you haven't seen Kaiju Pone, I'm not surprised. Number 9. Since bats are the superior pony, how many bats does it take to screw a princess?
Do bats have the corkscrew dick thing going on?
No, they do not.
Okay.
They have a very bizarre looking dick, and also they give each other head.
Got
Just
it.
like the deer.
No,
So-
they will hang upside down, and in order to have a nice place to stay, like female bats will literally suck male bats off as like a form of prostitution. I'm not even joking.
So it sounds like at least 2. One to do the screwing and one to get this fellatio that they seem so fond of.
Bats like fellatio.
All right. Number 11. Why is Spike the worst and everyone that likes him wrong?
So, like, I'm not going to come out here and defend Spike or anything, but I definitely don't have the intense hatred that Pencil and others show for him. And I feel like that's a better question for her because I'm sure she could put it in far better words than I ever could.
And she has multiple times.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
All right. Number 11. If you could start an interstellar war between any 2 factions from any universe or universes, who would they be and why?
So it'd have to be something pretty big time to really make it worthwhile. I feel like the easy answer would be to like take the Empire from Star Wars and go up against like Star Trek or something like that.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I want to do the easy answer or try to think of something better. I don't know. I struggle with this. This is the sort of question where my mind goes blank and I forget every like fictional organization I've ever read about in my entire life.
I know, that's fair.
But immediately when you say Interstellar, I'm like, yeah, Star Wars versus Star Trek. Like that's a fight for the ages right there.
Now the question is why?
Oh, because it'd be a fight for the ages right there.
Okay. Double checking. All right. Number 12, and your favorite question that you read ahead for. If dick cheese could be blocked and sliced for sandwiches, how much vaginal marinara would we need to spread on our avocado toast to make a fuck trophy? A flushed consolation prize is acceptable too.
Vaginal marinara. Maybe like a third cup. I'm trying to think because like I feel like if the dick cheese and marinara are still proportional to the size of the sandwich, I would go for about the same amount of regular cheese and regular marinara that I'd be looking for it. So third cup, maybe quarter cup sounds good. Third cup might be a bit much actually.
I mean, you say it's a bit much, but we had somebody that answered 3, and we weren't sure if they meant gallons or what.
Just 3.
Just 3.
All right. Number 13. Have you ever put your OC in a position you yourself would never be in of your own volition? Assuming you have one.
See, that's where the rub is. I can't say as if I have a specific OC. Like I have characters in some of the stories that I've written that are characters just for those stories. You know, they don't have a canon like backup or whatever you want to say. But I wouldn't really consider them quote unquote my OC. But I don't do a lot of self inserts or anything like that.
Okay, I mean that's fair. I know people who are not comfortable with self inserts at all. Number 14. What should you do if your SO starts smoking?
Get real concerned because she's allergic.
Put her out. Pour water on her. My God.
Okay. I was pretending like I didn't see the black section.
Yeah.
But...
Or the real answer, slow down and maybe use some lubricant.
And remember, kids, blood does not work well as a lubricant. Thank you.
Does not. It really doesn't.
No.
Speaking of blood, hey, Pencil.
Yeah, what up?
Your questions are next. Wanna do them?
Nice transition.
I thought that was about to go in a horrible direction.
Hi, Van.
Hi.
I have some questions for you today.
hmm
First, what would you whisper into a vagina?
It would probably be more like a humming, anything that would make a vibration.
And what would it whisper back?
Thank you.
On a more serious note, how does it feel returning to Pony after such a hiatus? Did it still feel natural coming back, or was there a little bit of readjustment period?
There was some readjustment, to be sure. I mean, because when I had dropped off, the show was still airing. So coming back after it had already been over for a little while and things were winding down, there wasn't really new content coming out anymore. What was kind of strange, it was almost a little bit ghost towny. There were some
Mm-hmm.
parts of it that almost kind of felt like I never left. And maybe that's just because things like the threequel Ponies Protecting Ponies stories and this animation drink were always in the back of my mind even during all of that time. Um, that like I said, it was like I never quite fully left. So parts of that felt good, and the fact that when I came back, all of you guys were right here, still doing your thing, still being your crazy selves, and happy to see me was a big part of just happily coming back into the fold, and 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 I am grateful for that.
Aw.
Hmm. Are there any parts of Pony goings on that you're glad you missed? Like any of the drama you found out after the fact or the nonsense that you didn't have to experience?
See, that's just the thing. I'm not sure. I don't even know what I missed. Like I know I said I had an ear to the ground on some stuff, but it was ground very, very far away.
Well, you
It's sorry.
got to miss a lot of drama about you remember the drama when Twilight got wings, like the drama
Sure,
of that. It
sure.
was a bunch of little things like that that you didn't have to be around for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because I've seen various stuff. Like I know at some point
Mhm.
Spike gets wings, and I'm sure that had
Uh,
its own little moments about it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
all the Scootaloo fans were pissed.
yep.
oh yeah, I did hear something about her parents being in an episode or something
Yeah,
like
she
that.
gets parents.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that I feel like that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier, where fans like to fill in the gaps on certain things, and that was definitely one of them.
Hmm.
Um, and then, like I know I like I've seen like shots of the ending where Twilight's like a fully grown princess and everything. A spoiler alert. I don't know if that matters for this chat or not.
No, no, it does
No.
not.
Um, and I wasn't sure exactly how that went over. And then G5 got announced, and you know, I wasn't 100% sure how that was getting received. Wasn't there something like Pony Life or something like that? There was some kind of like chibi version of the
Unfortunately,
show.
yes.
Yeah. So like I would hear tidbits, and occasionally I'd wonder. It's just like, oh, well, how is this going over right now?
You know what? You
But
like Teen Titans, didn't you, Ven?
oh, yeah, are we about to make the Go comparison?
It's exactly like that. It's exactly like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, don't need that. Who needs that?
Nobody needs that. Nobody
Fair.
wanted that.
You wanted that. Well, so you missed those
Somebody
things.
wanted to order that.
Are you glad you missed them?
I don't know. Like when it comes to drama and everything, I think there was a part of me that always kind of enjoyed how invested people could get in these things and
Ah,
seeing which things would just trigger a little bit of chaos and see where that wound up.
mm-hmm.
Um, at the same time, not having a horse in the race, no pun intended, probably saved me a little bit of neuron energy that would have otherwise gone toward it.
Yeah, I can back that. Okay. Bees?
Bees,
How many bees?
lots of bees.
Good answer. How much bacon have you had recently? Because I'm jealous.
Of what? Because I have not had much, or okay, I guess I can't say that. If I go out and have a burger, the burger has bacon on it.
Yeah, and just where Ven lives, they have really good bacon, and no one talks about it, and I'm upset about it. Just putting that out there.
Oh, I had no idea that our bacon was that jellyable.
I rambled about it when I first saw you again. I was like, by the way, I found
Oh.
something I like about Nebraska. That was the whole thing.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
actually triggering a memory right now. That's
Yeah.
coming back to me. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
When I was rambling about the
'cause-
different things I liked about states.
yeah, because I don't make much at home or anything,
Mhm.
especially when my fiance has been kind of on again, off again on a diet where, as you know, bacon is not always diet friendly.
Ever.
It's
Literally ever.
it's allergy friendly for her at least.
Oh.
She's allergic to beef and chicken, so that limits a lot of
Mhm.
options. We wound up doing a lot of pork, turkey, and fish over our time together. Um, but yeah, I'll almost always have it on a burger. Usually because I like barbecue burgers, and those almost always have some kind of bacon on it or another.
All right, then.
Them's my questions, and I'll have to duck out, but it was really great to see you again, Ven. Congratulations on everything.
Thank you so much. I love you, and I'm
Love
so
you
glad that
too.
you were here.
Please take care, and bye, everyone. Love you guys too.
Bye.
Bye.
Mental. All right, Alex _ is up next, who says, Van, what'd you get for Christmas?
Socks. Like no joke, a whole lot of socks. So
You too.
yeah, so talking about my fiance a little bit more. So she has some ankle problems that start hurting real bad if she goes up and down the stairs too much. So we reach an arrangement where I do all the laundry. I bring the laundry to her and she folds them. She finds out how horrible of shape all of my socks have been in, and I now have so many socks that my sock drawer won't close. So she might have overdone it, but I'm glad that because not everybody goes through the effort of figuring out what you need that you don't even know you need, and then getting what you need.
Are they like a whole bunch of cute, like fun kinds of socks, or are they
Oh yeah,
more
they're
utilitarian?
so she's observant, right? I have black socks that I wear when I work out. I have white socks that I wear when I'm doing yard work. And then I have like patterned socks for going out and doing stuff. And she got me some of each.
Aw,
Yeah.
cute.
I mean there's other stuff that I got too. The biggest thing that I got that big Lego like Super Mario question block thing that has like all of
Ooh.
the Mario 64 Lego stages like hidden inside of it.
Oh, nice.
I haven't had new Legos in years, and when I opened that up at Christmas, my mom was like, "You're, 30 something years old. Why am I still getting you Legos for Christmas?" And I'm like, "You didn't have to get me these. They were on my list, but you didn't have to get me them." But I'm I'm looking forward to putting it together. It ties right into that creative spirit that I love to feed, and I'm thinking about maybe targeting the weekend of my birthday to put it together or something since I'm taking some time off around then.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Next
Yeah.
question is, have you broken all your New Year's resolutions already?
One of them was to like start sleeping at a regular time again, be consistent and good about it. So far this week, I've been up until like 2 or 3 a.m. most nights. So no, or yes, I have broken some New Year's resolutions already.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate 2023 so far?
God, it's hard to say. So far, I'd put it maybe at a 6. The problem is I caught a cold over the weekend, so the start of my 2023 has been me achy and snotty and coffee. So that hasn't been fun. But I've been able to work on my video game again, which has been fun. And I've started to do some moderately serious house hunting, which with my fiance, which is kind of exciting.
Yay. And then next from Alex, have you ever seen a ghost?
Okay, so possibly. So I'll say this: Priest, as you know, there's the Museum of Shadows in our area, right? And when it was still at its original location, which I know you were the one that even recommended it to me in the first place because you and Pencil went together.
Yeah.
So when I went there, there was a lot of exploring around, being mildly creeped out by some dolls and some clowns and stuff. Getting really spooked when an air freshener decided to go off randomly. That was a little bit unsettling. Um, but otherwise not really experiencing anything, just kind of getting creeped out by sights and descriptions and stuff. But as you know, they had a sit challenge where you would go into the basement, which was supposedly one of their more haunted areas. There were two ways of doing this challenge. There was a room where you would sit all alone for a period of time, and it was where allegedly a a prostitute that used to work at it. The building was a brothel. A prostitute was stabbed to death, stabbed many times, and died in that room. And I forget her name. It was like Charlotte or something. So they referred to it as Charlotte's room. Otherwise, there was the main area to the basement, which had this one particularly cursed doll that has that kind of arrangement where it's like, oh, if you don't talk to it, make sure you say goodbye or this and that sort of thing, or it'll haunt you when you go home. One of those ordeals, and a lot of like Ouija boards and other just like cursed or haunted things. Um, regardless of whether or not you believe in that stuff. But I did the challenge to sit down in the larger area. I had the person I was seeing at the time with me there, and we did that. And I personally didn't experience anything through that. She like grabbed me a couple of times and said something pulled on my hair, but I never felt anything. But we're just down there for a while, listening to this EMF detector go off every so often. And eventually the lights come back on. The person comes downstairs. It was like, "Oh, how was it?" And we're just like, "Oh, it was kind of spooky, kind of scary, sort of thing." And we're on our way out. So I'm following. We're walking out, and I take a glance over into Charlotte's room, where there's a stool. It's kind of like if you were like shoe shopping. It's like one of those stools with a slanted mirror on it.
Hmm.
I'm watching. I watch the employee go by, and I see the legs in the shadow, and then I walk by and I see my torso, and I realize that the legs went by were like thigh high white stockings in a much brighter light than I saw my own reflection in, and the employee was definitely not wearing white stockings.
Whoa.
So, and that's probably as close to the paranormal as I've ever come, outside the time that aliens followed my family home.
But that's a story for another day.
Sure, unless anybody asks that question.
We're gonna try and do our best to get through some of the highlight questions of Pat and Burgess, especially
Okay.
Burgess for being such a proud supporter of the cast. But some of my favorite questions that Pat asked. Number two, what obscure video game or game series do you like?
Um, I find it hard to gauge what's obscure. I
I would
mean,
say third party,
third party.
third party or independent.
Third party or independent. So I remember really liking Oddworld Stranger's Wrath back in the day, but I've never really gotten to the Oddworld series as a whole, so that one's kind of hard for me to go all in on. Um, let's see what else. I mean, Priest, you're somewhat familiar with my game collection too, so you can chime in if there's anything that you think is particularly strange or obscure.
Um, you do have physical cartridges of ROM hacks, which is pretty cool.
That's true. Though one of them was a gift from you.
It's true. That is
Yeah,
accurate.
yeah. Both of them being related to Zelda Ocarina of Time. One of them is like a like kind of a revamp, a reskin of it, and the other one is a Banjo Kazooie mod in the world of Ocarina of Time, which is fun and enjoyable. Strangely hard, very hard, but fun. Um, what else? Because I feel like obscure game franchises usually don't last.
Yeah, because there isn't a whole bunch of RPGs that you're super into. I know you're a fan of Conan Exiles.
Yeah, I
Which is
was
even
really
more
into Conan
obscure.
Exiles for a while. Not really a series, just kind of a one off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are other Conan games, but I don't think it's a part of a series.
I think that pretty well covers it.
Okay.
Number 4 is when poured onto cereal, is milk a beverage, a broth, or a sauce?
Broth.
Very fair. Got him. Number
Bruh.
5, if you could go to one place to eat, would it be Tomboy Outback Steakhouse, Femboy Hooters, Goth IHOP, MILF Denny's, or other, such as Fem Domino's, RR Arby's, Monster Girl McDonald's, Short Stack Steakhouse, Cat Girl Chipotle, E Girl Applebee's, or Yandere Hut?
I feel like the best combination of, I'm going to assume, waitress or staff appeal and food appeal would have to be the Tomboy Outlook Steakhouse. It's the first one on the list. It's the best one on the list. Although there are many contenders.
Tomboys are very good. Very
Mhm.
good. I can appreciate this. Now we're going to go to questions for Burgess. If you could be
Okay.
one, what would you prefer? A wizard, a warlock, or a sorcerer?
Trying to remember the difference between them all. I want to say wizard.
Wizard. Um, if you could sit down to dinner with any of the characters with any character of any franchise, who do you pick?
Sit down to dinner with any character. I would pick Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, that's a
He
great
would have
one.
some of the best stories and the best advice, and I mean, he always presents himself as somebody you would sit down and have tea with, and dinner just feels like a nice extension of that.
Yeah. What country would you pick to drop into rereads? Which country would you pick to drop into the My Little Pony verse, and why?
Probably just Equestria. It's the one that obviously I'm the most familiar with. Everybody's the most familiar with. It's generally at peace with itself. It just seems like a pleasant place to be and travel through and visit. Other regions tend to have harsher climates or are at war with one another or whatever the case may be. And I mean, outside the occasional 1,000-year-old villain attacking, it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of problems.
See, you read that so exceptionally well. I read that as taking a country that exists on Earth and just throwing it into Equestria.
I read it that way at first, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, this is easier than that, actually."
Oh man. And then last but not least, how have you been?
I've been good. Life has been pretty good lately. I feel like I'm finally at a place where I'm at peace with a lot of things. There's still little stuff here and there, but you know, things are
Eh,
turning up Venates, and I like that.
good. Good. Checking the chat. Okay, Mugany asks, what is your alien story?
Okay, so we were visiting my family, my immediate family. We're visiting my grandparents. And they live on a farm, out in the country. Um, and we left pretty late at night. And out in the distance to the east, we see these lights. There's like three lights, almost like spotlights for a movie premiere or something, right? Just kind of going around, swirling in the sky. It's like, okay, I don't know what's going on in the next town over because there was a town maybe 10 miles that direction. But it seems like they got some kind of show going on or a prom or something. Don't think too much about it. We get in the van. We drive to our home, which is not terribly far. We were maybe like a 10-minute drive away or something like that. Um, and as we drive, we go out down south, then turn around west and come back up north. I hope I haven't gotten anybody directionally confused at any point. Point is, we were driving away from those lights, and are now driving north rather than facing east. The lights that were in the east are now south of us, as though they were following us. And it's like they couldn't have possibly been coming from that town, which is now even further away in the east. They're now behind us to the south. And it's just like, and they were just there following us all the way home. And they were still there when we got there. And the whole time I'm thinking, are we about to get abducted or something? And I never learned more about what those lights were or anything like that. It was definitely not like aircraft or anything, because it looked like the lights were hitting the bottom of the clouds rather than like coming from above them. But they would like they would kind of go out in a circle, and they spun around real fast, faster than anything would be able to like move, outside a beam of light. And then they kind of come back together in the middle again, circle each other real slow, and then they'd spin out on the outer edge of that circle real fast again. It was bizarre, and I still don't have an explanation for it. But there was every so often I would be like, was that just a dream I had or something? And I'd ask one of my brothers, and like, no, we remember that shit. That was fucked up.
Well, we only got about 2 minutes left, and that for the most part covers all the questions. All that's really left to ask now is if people want to check out your animation, your stories, where can they find your stuff and get in touch?
Yeah. So the videos and everything were linked here earlier for the one that was posted, or you can find me on YouTube, Venates, same as you see me spelled here in the Discord call. Fimfic, again, same spelling. You can find me there. You can find me on DeviantArt. Those are my main 3 places of creative output. So feel free to check any of that out. A lot of my DeviantArt was just stuff that I would kind of publish while working on this animation. So some of that might feel a little bit of a repeat, but if you ever want like an individual gift of something from the video, you might find it there.
Heck yeah. Well, with all that said and done, that is the end of our time today. Ven, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us and premiere your video with us. That makes us feel just as special as you feel, I assure you.
Yeah, no, it was great. If anybody has any further questions about the video or anything, feel free to leave a comment on it. I like to try to be a little bit active with my responses to people on there and everything. And I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy that when I shyly reached out and was like, "Hey, would you like be interested in this for the podcast?" that there was a positive response to that, and not be like, "Get out of here. You can't just use our friendship to self-promote. What's wrong with you?"
And then with that all said and done, I'd like to thank Burgese for donating 100 bits this stream. That said, our bartenders for this evening have been Flammenwerfer,
Mixed a few drinks.
the amazing milk,
I got a sandwich.
the reputable Ravage,
I have a reputation.
the venerable Venates has been our guest,
Thank you so much.
and I'm fucking Flutter Priest. Bye. Go away.
Whoa, you're fucking somebody? That's hot.
I'm going to bed. I'm not fucking anyone right now. God damn it.